Well, hello there, Blade Gang, and welcome back to OG Blade Reviews. Thanks for coming, and I've got something exciting and interesting to show you today from a gentleman who's become a good friend of mine, live in the same little state here in the Northeast, and he has been banging out the custom knives. So this is a USA-made knife by Armis Knife and Tool, and that means Michael Grasso. He is an ex-fireman. He retired early due to some injuries, and he is just making a name for himself in the knife industry very quickly. As you can see, he established his knife-making company in 2022, but I believe he's been making some knives since earlier than that, as I recall. And there's a bio on him that I'll try to include in this. I did review one other knife that Michael sent me, which was the full-size VSK. What we've got here today, if it's on the box, it's not on the box, but that's okay. But armor up. And there is his URL for his company on the web, armisknifeandtool.com. Okay, I want to thank Michael for making this up for me to a few of my specifications, sending it out for review. Generous man. And way back a year or so ago, I did my first review on his knives. And also made a connection with Bob DeMarco, the Knife Junkie. Bob got real interested and had Michael on his podcast. And you get inside, what is this? Tongue oil. Interesting. Tongue oil I used to use on wood and whatnot. And he's saying apply it to the knife scales. So cool. If we wanted to darken these down. So these are pretty raw. I'm going to show it to you again in a moment. Lots of literature in here. I'm not going to go over all of it. We do have a Band-Aid taped to the top. Oh yeah, and there's the info on the knife. Mini VSK from Nitro V, packaged by Michael. He's adding stuff every knife that I see, and you get this corrugated, shredded cardboard, or really paper inside. All right. That's way more explanation than I really wanted to offer, but, you know, you get enthusiastic, what can I say? He used what can only be described as an Indian blanket, Native American. I have to be correct, so no offense to you folks. And indigenous folks from the Americas. Some might call it a Mexican blanket, but no, actually it looks more Navajo kind of. And I'm no expert on Native Americans. So anyway, already stumbling over my definitions. Apologies to all. He always keeps one side plain. These are a deep carry with what I could only call what was initially referred to as a Tracker Dan style sheath, where we've got a centerline clip. These are genuine DCC discrete concept clips. You can see their logo there. Yep. And it grabs whatever you clip it onto. This is more or less designed for inside the waistband or pocket. I would carry this in a pocket since we've only got that much sticking out. But let's not wait. There is the NAF. The Mini VSK, or VSK Mini, not sure which. But you will find it on his website. I'll make sure you've got all the links. Here is the material he showed me, and I said, yeah, let's go ahead with that. And I can only see it referred to as Cryptech. Bob DeMarco happened to use that term. It's really interesting, kind of an acrylic, I believe, with a little translucent blue going on here. We've got probably aluminum separators in here that go all the way through, so they're kind of a sheet metal rather than a wire, I think. But you can see that they go all the way through. It's a really, really cool handle if you're looking for a wild handle. On his mini VSKs, he puts no jimping. As I mentioned earlier, it's from Nitro V. He also is using AEBL. I'm not sure if you have a choice, but Nitro V is fine with me. Oh ho, I rhymed. A nice thick blade stock, tapering out to a fine point that is not overly thin and is extremely piercy. And the knife is extremely slicey, man. Whoa. So you got a solid little knife. It is smaller than the original, which I'll show you in a moment or two. But you got a fistful right here. You're not going anywhere. Your hand is captured in this handle with these large grooves, one for each 2 fingers, and this pommel that allows you to, it's kind of the bird's beak Filipino style pommel. See, there's the bird's eye. There's the bird's beak. Bird's eye, buy those veggies. But it enables you to pluck it out of the sheath. Right there. So if that's in your pocket, it's going to come right out. You're not going to slip off. You don't need to grab the whole knife because the whole knife handle, half of it, is hidden in the sheath. And this is, for me, makes a perfect pocket carry. I mean, that's what's sticking out of your pocket right there, you know. What holds it in the sheath is not that the sheath is formed to the handle, it's just a pouch. But what we've got inside here is the woolly side of Velcro or hook and loop. It is the loop side rather than the hook side. And it's like a little carpet in there that takes up space and creates drag. And there is no way that that is falling out. And yet, not hard to pull it out at all. Great invention. Not sure if that was Michael's idea or it was borrowed from somebody else. I'm going to say for now it was Michael's idea, and we'll go with that. So we're going to put the sheath aside for just a moment. We're going to do some quick measurements on this, and then certainly talk quite a bit more about this little devil. So we've got overall 7 inches and a little more than 3 1/4 inch blade. I would call that like, well, it depends. Okay. It really depends. Let's talk about the cutting edge. You've got a, say a 3.35 cutting edge and about the same on the handle to that front point. And overall in centimeters, we've got 17.5 centimeters and 8.5 centimeter blade length, 85 millimeters if you want to go by that. And other measurements. So in inches, blade stock, 0.17, fairly thick. Handle, and you notice that it is rock pattern, so it's varied. I'm going to see if I can get an average here. 0.64. That is really excellent for the thickness. For a small knife, it makes it feel far more secure in the hand. 16.5 millimeters, and the blade stock, 4.2 millimeters. So nice, thick blade stock. Let's weigh her up with and without the sheath. And the sheath isn't going to weigh much, but let's go around to grams. And we've got 111.61 grams, or 3.94, almost 4 ounces, just a shade under 4 ounces. Oh, let's put it under the sheath, as I said. So with the sheath, we've got 5.85 ounces. Believe me, the sheath feels like nothing. nothing at all. Really rigid. Look at that, nice, thick kydex. Very, very secure and stable. So ergos on this knife. Those of you with mitts larger than mine, and I'm medium large, although my hand doesn't look it with that weird thumb after surgery. See, different shaped hands. The right's still usable, thank God. You can lay that thumb right out there. So if you like this push grip for cutting, if you like it because you're a Filipino martial arts stylist, it's perfect. You can lay your thumb right out there. If you want to back up a little bit and put your thumb here, it's still going to work even without the jimping. The larger full-size VSK1, and I think VSK, by the way, stands for very stabby knife, or it could stand for very sharp knife. I think Michael said very stabby. And yeah, we've got this triangular blade shape going on here, and I'm going to do a video on knives with similar blade profiles, and these will be included. So I just fit in the cutout space between the pommel and the front guard, kind of a built-in guard. And I don't feel crammed. It just feels extremely secure. What if we went to Pical? Oh, it's even more perfect. It really is. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have an edge here, but Michael will build you a knife with a reverse edge. So the grind will be flip-flopped and you'll have your edge here for you Pical guys. Isn't that cool? He also has been laser engraving his logo, whereas you'll see on the original VSK, I believe it's called the VSK1. I'm going to pull that out now. He does have jimping. So there's the VSK1 that I reviewed about a year ago, or maybe a little less. This has the topographical, like a map design on the show side. And once again, just a plain black on that side. And all these little rivets. Now, Michael also turns out lots of videos, shorts, just showing you the knives he's making in the large batches, I think relatively large batches, like 10 to a dozen knives, in all the stages of production. That's the full-size VSK, okay? So you can see the difference. It's not a huge difference. It's a significant difference. And you can see the difference in the handle, okay? Well, maybe you can't that way, can you? It's about 3/4 of an inch longer. And it's a little more room, but look at that. I mean, it almost would appear that I've got the same amount of space, but it's about maybe about a 1/2 inch difference, okay? And there is your jimping I was talking about, that fine file-like jimping that he puts on the larger knife. You know, his feeling may be that the jimping isn't advantageous on the smaller knife, but I'm sure you could ask for it, okay? He's doing a lot of customization these days, and people are actually designing their own knives and whatnot. Let's show you now. And by the way, that's his kind of his earlier distressed sort of tumbled finish. Notice it's changed just a little bit. We got a little more of a gray going, and you can see some of the grind lines. Michael hand grinds with a little assist from a clamping jig, all of his blades. And I believe he may be having them blanked out, or he may be doing them himself. I apologize, Michael and Michael's fans, if I got that wrong. But I know that he grinds the blades himself. So they're nothing here CNC'd. He gets help from his family. He gets help from some neighbors sometimes. He is one industrious man, and he is upbeat. Love his attitude. When my first video ran, he got his family together and they all sort of had snacks and watched the video on a TV screen. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, and I appreciate that. That's the trainer. So we can see that the trainer for the Mini is about maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch shorter, because obviously we don't have a point. It's been rounded over. So you can train with a partner with this. You're still gonna give them nice bruises, but you know, you won't stab them. And he's nicely chamfered this over. So we have no sharp edges on this. So if it draws across skin, you're not going to cut your partner, your training partner. And you can still have a handle that's pretty much the same. We've got the rock pattern going on this too. He uses the bright blue to identify the trainer. And it is a heavier knife because we don't have the removal for the blade grind there. Same 2 screws, everything else is the same. You could probably even swap the handles out if you wanted to. But he will give you a trainer. I'm not saying give you, he'll sell you a trainer for 50 bucks. And some other interesting stuff. I mean, here we have his travel paring knife. Now, the travel paring knife is meant to accept any Henkel's or, you know, cheap department store paring knife. So the whole idea is around the sheath. Now, for 50 bucks, you get the knife. Granted, it's not an expensive knife, you know. It's one you could get yourself, and that's the whole point. So you bring this with you if you're traveling by air. And when you get to your destination, you go into a department store or hardware store, or what have you, and pick up one of these. And because of that one-sided Velcro, it should fit perfectly. I think there's only a few knives that don't fit in there. But then, if you need a knife in your travels, you got one. Isn't that a great idea? The travel paring knife. Also, before I get into my compares, we have the G10 marker. Now, there's at least one other guy I know from Revenant Corp that is making these, and I think I'm not sure who came up with this first, but this looks just like a Sharpie, except that's sharp G10. So what can that do? Well, that can do that. So in a pinch, yeah, you got your stabby there, but looks just like a Sharpie. Love it. All right, well, I said we'd have some other compares, and I'll put the original VSK 1 out there. But in the same size category, here is auxiliary manufacturing. I got this a while ago, a couple years ago at least. That's the Carl Jr. And that is by Michael out there, another Michael at Auxiliary Manufacturing. Just about the same size, but not quite as tall. And also out of AEBL. I did say Nitro V on that. Really nice on this one, fat carbon handles. Notice his handles aren't screwed on, but they're pinned and they're glued. So these are not removable. These are removable. Since the handles are ground down to match the blade, the tang, I don't think you're going to be able to just buy the handles from Michael unless you're willing to do a little bit of fitting work. But this one, I think up till now has been my favorite. One thing I do like is that I've got a little more room here, and my hand is not sandwiched in as tight. You got a bird's beak, but it is a bird's beak that is a little more open, okay? But you've got more purchase power here. Purchase power. You got more grabbing power there on that handle. Let me back out just so we're going to need. Okay, we're good. So you can see the size there, just about the same with a blade that's shorter. Strangely enough, we got more handle going on here. So a very compact handle. This is going to pocket and waistband carry extremely well, even if you were to drop it entirely into the pocket. And I wouldn't recommend that when you got a sheath that's as good as that one. All right, what else have we got? Well, we've got another one from Ox Manufacturing. This is the production pocket buoy. And this is the coffin handle pocket buoy. This one was sent for review by Auxiliary Manufacturing. And these have been a very successful series for Michael out in Reno there. These are production made from 14C. And that is smaller yet. Look at the size of that one, and sandwiched in between these other two small knives. So another interesting option, and it is called the pocket buoy. It does come through with a pretty large Tech-Lock style clip. You could take that off. You could simply drop this in the pocket, and you've got a nice tunnel there to pop that off. You've got the same thing going. Well, actually, you don't. Sorry about that. Different kind of sheath. Getting off on the wrong track there. Well, let's leave that out. Let's leave that out. And let's bring out one final compare. Good old Spyderco, Fred Perrin, Spyderco Street Beat. Yes, a mainstay. And it's out for compare because many of you have that knife. VG10, made in made in Japan. This is an oldie though. They may have others made maybe still in Japan or maybe in Taiwan. A lot of you guys are real experts on Spyderco, so you will tell me. There we have it, a quartet of small, really carryable fixed blade knives. Great for EDC, great for defense, great for combat. Well, maybe not combat knives, but maybe as a backup. Carry it in attack vest or plate carrier, what have you, guys that are into that, or our military. So let's take another look at the VSK Mini, and why not the VSK 1 from Armis, knife and tool. Michael Grasso, excellent work. And thank you, Michael, for sending both of these along about a year apart for my review. And you guys out there, check the links that I'm going to leave in the description if you want to know more about Armis or about ordering a knife. Not sure what the wait period is, maybe a few months now. A year ago, it was just a week or two, and now it is months. So jump in on this while you've got the opportunity. Be well, take care, click on that logo there, and stay safe, you guys. Carry a sharp knife.